Jack Smith is hilariously trying again, trying so hard to interfere with this election, pushing between he and Chutkin. This is on the Trump J6 case out in Washington, D.C., which is pretty hilarious. You don't have to worry because nothing's going to happen with this. First of all, that's not under threat. I think it's so close to the election that it's just becoming obvious what Jack Smith is doing. Welcome to the Doug Timetable channel. Thank you guys for watching. I so appreciate you guys. I love how you guys interact in the chat. Thanks for responding. Thanks for talking to each other. Thanks for giving us a thumbs up. Let's read. So here is a tweet from Kyle Cheney, just in. Judge Chutkin tees up a timetable for Trump to argue against the release of the material Jack Smith submitted under seal yesterday. He's going to say, of course, number one, he has immunity. Number two, it's too close to the election. We're well within 2 months of the election now. And the immunity, he can look at what is under seal. Now, only Chutkin so far can see what's under seal. It hasn't been released to the public. And most people do not want most lawyers do not want what is under seal released to the public before the lawsuit goes. But in this case, Jack Smith wants documents dumped out to the public because he wants them all to read the case before it goes to trial because he's trying to influence the election. He doesn't even care about the trial. This is just a giant propaganda campaign. It appears we could see the redacted version by mid-October. That's next month, guys. We're almost there. May see some ancillary filings sooner. So do you see Jack Smith is trying to get this new, and I believe it's 200 pages. It's like he wrote a book on his new charges against Trump. And supposedly there's some top secret information in there. So Chutkin's going like, you have to redact what you need to redact. And so he also submitted a redacted version of the form saying, can this be sent out to the public? So then they sent that to Trump's team, where they're allowed to go and read through it and say, no, this cannot be released. This redacted version should not be released to the public. But Jack Smith's aiming to release this thing by mid-October. That's 2 weeks before the election. 2 weeks before the election to put out this 200-page. This is an October surprise, a giant dump on the president. They're hoping to put out all this juicy stuff. Who knows what they threw in there about Trump? You may see some ancillary filings sooner. Now let's get to this legal. This is some of the docket text that we got. I don't know how we ended up getting this, but I'm going to read it to you. Minute order as to Donald J. Trump. The clerk of the court is directed to file on the public docket the government's motion to leave, to file unredacted motion under seal, and to file redacted motion on public docket. There, unquote. I don't know what any of that means. Hold on one second. ECF number 245. It is hereby ordered that defendant shall file under seal any objections to the proposed redactions in the government's motion for immunity determinations by 12 p.m. on October 1st. That's just saying Trump's team has until October 1st to object and write out their objections and send them back to the court there. And they shall file under seal any objections, so they can't talk about it in public, any objections to the proposed redactions in the appendix to the motion by 5 p.m. on October 10th, 2024, signed by Judge Tanya S. Chutkin. That is today. This is so criminal what they're trying to do. Chutkin's trying to make sure that at least Jack Smith, who's even more of a zealot than Chutkin is. See, Chutkin's merely an Obama appointee. That's only so radical. Jack Smith is an illegal appointment by Merrick Garland. King, way farther radical, way more risky, way more psychotic about influencing this election even than Chutkin is. Okay. And then here's Mike Davis to wrap it up, who's I think is just a gold star, a great mind on the law. I believe he clerked under Gorsuch on the Supreme Court. Mike Davis. The Biden-Kamala Justice Department waited nearly 3 years to bring these bogus charges. These proceedings are highly irregular. There's no reason they cannot wait until after the election, right? But that's not their goal. Is not justice. It's to influence the election. And in fair conclusion, DC Obama judge Tanya Chutkan is blatantly interfering in the election. I think that's a fair conclusion. She's going to try. It depends on what they have in these documents. I don't see how, unless they just think bringing up that Trump is in trouble again. I don't know what specifically is in there, and they're not going to be able to release it to the public until it goes out to everyone. But it'll be, all the juicy stuff will be redacted. I have no idea what they're trying to do other than just to dump this thing out 2 weeks before an election. This is election interference. The courts cannot allow this to happen because you don't want to set this precedent that on future campaigns, people can start doing this to people who are elected before an election. They have to set the precedent that no, you can't dump this stuff out 2 weeks before we vote. No. In fact, voting's already happening now. Should totally be, this is so unprofessional and so un-American and so dangerous of a precedent to set. We need the Supreme Court to step in, but mostly we're just going to laugh at Jack Smith for being really a banana. This is banana republic stuff. This is fraud. And this really looks bad on Merrick Garland, which looks bad on Biden for appointing him. I'm Doug in Exile.